Thank you, Stephen Mirabai. And to everyone, we welcome you to Unity Spiritual Community in Citrus Heights and invite you to join us in singing our opening song, We Are All Friends Here.
We are all friends here. There are no strangers once you walk inside that door. We welcome you to linger in this family of love and hold you in our hearts the way you are. We are all friends here. There are no strangers once you walk inside that door. We welcome you to linger in this family of love and hold you in our hearts the way you are. We are all friends here. There are no strangers once you walk inside that door. We welcome you to linger in this family of love and hold you in our hearts the way you are. And hold you in our hearts the way you are.
All right, cha cha cha. We are thrilled to be meeting with you today. This is my first Sunday back in the pulpit after an extended medical leave, and I am thrilled to be with you. We've got Heart Dream for our musicians, Steve and Mirabai, and they want you to know that their music is now available on all of your favorite music streaming platforms, including Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music. Just search for Heart Dream. Or if you would like CDs or USB thumb drives or digital downloads, just go to heartdream.com. And I want you to know that Heart Dream has supported this ministry for years, and we like to, in return, support their business too. And we have Amy Hansen with us today on tech. We're very grateful for her also. This is my favorite week of the year. This is time out of time, the week between Christmas and New Year's. It's like if you ever went to the park and got on the swing and swung as high as you could, and when you got to the top of that arc, there was a moment when you were suspended and you weren't going up and you weren't going down. And this week of the year is like that moment. I think that the veil between the physical and spiritual worlds is thinner this week. And if we allow ourselves to be open, we will gain a lot of insight. So welcome, and we're glad that you joined us today. We're going to invite Amy to read the daily word.
The daily word for today, December 29th, 2024, is pray for others. In prayer, I know the truth about others. I feel honored when someone asks for my support in prayer. My heart and mind join with theirs as I hold thoughts that affirm the truth of them, their divinity. I pray they know they are created in the image of God, that the qualities of life, love, and wisdom are part of their spiritual inheritance. As I pray, I see their divine qualities expressing. I comforting them and harmonizing their relationships. I see them whole and well, loved and loving, prosperous and secure. As I pray, I focus on the spiritual truth and trust that the divine presence is the answer to every prayer. The scripture for today is, "What should I do then? I will pray with the spirit, but I will pray with the mind also. I will sing praise with the spirit, but I will sing praise with the mind also." 1 Corinthians 14:15. The word for today is pray for others.
Thank you, Amy. We're going to move right into the blessing of the prayer request because the daily word actually did that for us. So we have a reminder, we have a slide for this too, that you can request prayer from our prayer chaplains. You can send us an email, or you can contact Silent Unity in many ways. You can talk to a prayer chaplain after church, and you can leave a prayer request in the box in the lobby when we are at the Sylvan Community Center. Unity was founded on prayer, and you are being supported in prayer at all times. You just are not aware of it. Here's the information that you need to ask for prayer from all these sources. And now we're going to sing a song led by Heart Dream, and it's called Calling Forth the Light.
We are calling forth the light. We are calling forth the light of God. We are calling forth the light. It shines in you. It shines in me. It shines right now for eternity. We are calling forth the strength. We are calling forth the strength of God. We are calling forth the strength. It shines in you. It shines in me. It shines right now for eternity. We are calling forth the peace. We are calling forth the peace of God. We are calling forth the peace. It shines in you. It shines in me. It shines right now for eternity.
Thank you. We're going to move into our featurette. Dooby dooby doo. Amy, if we could have just the beginning slide. Thank you. This featurette is about puzzle and riddle. And later in this service, we're going to have our Sunday lesson, and it will also be about puzzle and riddle because I've got a lot to say about this. Both of these presentations explore the idea of contact with otherworldly beings. They explore this idea in very different ways from each other. This slide is of my backyard facing east in the early morning, just after sunrise. My encounters with puzzle and riddle began in 2022 when I was out in the backyard with my dog before the sun came up in August, mid-August. And at one point I turned around and looked east. And this is what I saw. The sun was perpendicular to the slats on the fence and came through with these marvelous shadows. It was breathtaking. And I found out later that these are lens flares. You see the arcs in the front of that? And I haven't researched lens flares because I don't want the cold water of scientific theory to dampen all the fun I'm having with it. So time passed, and if I could have the next slide, we moved to 2023. And this particular arc has a cat in the middle of it, but that didn't come from Puzzle and Riddle. That came from Billie Jean, the Kitty Queen. And at first, it was primarily arcs that I saw. You can't see these with your bare eyes, and I don't think you see them through your camera eye finder either. You have to look at the photo. And the next one. See, those arcs have got colors, and they're a different one. So for the first 2 years, this is just about all I saw. And I wondered, does this alignment occur just in August? I know it's 6 weeks after the summer solstice, so the sun is moving back south, and it just reached a point where it was perpendicular with the fence. Well, it seems to me that at some point in the year, the sun will be moving back north, and will hit that same point and be perpendicular. But I can't find that point. I've got it marked in my calendar for April. I'm going to check then, and I'll keep you posted. The arc slides were just about all I got until 2024, when I finally learned to tilt the camera. Can we have the next slide, please? And then when it all broke loose, I started seeing amazing things. This is an example of what I call the chakras. And I saw this many times in many directions. There's another one right after it, Amy. Like that. So I started playing around with the camera and, deliberately trying to get different effects. And this last, August, I went out before sunrise for 3 weeks in the middle of August, taking my cat, and took dozens and dozens of pictures. It was hard to select which ones to share with you today. So these were all good and fine, but you might notice we haven't mentioned Puzzle or Riddle yet. So let's see the next slide. These two forms in the front are Puzzle and Riddle. And we see them again and again, and they often look like they're connected, or maybe just one form in two parts. But I guarantee you I've seen them separated many times in many ways, and they just kept showing up. We see the next one. There they are again, with a bonus of some rainbow stuff going on under the rafters here. Okay. And the next one. Now this is the filler slide, the title slide that we've been using to promote this talk. And I wanted to explain what you're looking at. I don't think it's really obvious. We are looking at the sunrise. We're looking east over the fence. And on the top of the fence rail, I've got several colored bottles perched. And if you look behind me on this windowsill, they are there. I put them there so you could see them. And that's with the three things, the kind of spires that are sticking up in the middle. Those are real. They're really there. because so many things you see are not really there, not the way we define it. And there's an arc under it, and then puzzle and riddle are in all their glory, coral and turquoise and well defined and so beautiful. I started thinking they might have a consciousness because they were so sneaky, and they tended to show up in such strange places. And this next slide is the best example of that. We're looking again at the fence with the three bottles there. And if you look to the left, there's puzzle and riddle, and they're not attached like this. And it looks for all the world like they didn't want to be left out. You know, their colors matched the bottles, and it looked like such fun to be up there on the fence that they just joined in. And I caught it in the picture, and it delighted me. So I wonder, could puzzle and riddle have a plan? Are they encoding messages on our cell phone cameras? Are they demonstrating the myriad forms of life that saturate the universe? And do the lessons to us include that beauty and wonder are to be found everywhere, including our backyards? That all forms of life are conscious, and that we are part of a magnificent galactic family. We are loved, we are supported, we are uplifted, and we live in times of great change, and we are the engineers of that change. So in closing, keep your eyes and your hearts open to the multitude of life that surrounds us, and learn to recognize the limitless expressions of the one God as we fearlessly proceed forward into the next aspect of our earthly evolution. And thus ends the featurette. Thank you, Amy. You can close that now. We're going to sing I Choose Love.
Peace in my life is growing because I choose love. Love's always present, it's what I'm made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one. One tie that binds us that can't be undone. I choose love. Peace for our planet is growing because I choose love. Love's always present, it's what we're made of. I choose love. We are a part of each other. We are one. One choice unites us. Let this be the one. I choose love. I choose love. I choose love.
Thank you, Heart Dream. Now we're going to leave PowerPoint behind for a while as we have a time of meditation. So breathe and get comfortable and allow yourself to return to a simpler time when you were a child, full of wonder and innocence. We relax and breathe, shedding the years and the cares that we have accumulated since our childhood. We rest in the freedom that comes from living in the now moment and from knowing that all we need is being provided to us. We honor the seasons of our lives, just as our Celtic forebears celebrated the turning of the wheel of the year. We embrace the natural rhythm of birth, youth, maturity, and the return to the Creator. We each ride on the shoulders of our ancestors, having inherited the world that they created. Likewise, our children and grandchildren are born into a world that bears the mark of our own progress. We are each a link in the unbroken chain of humankind. As we leave the springtime days of childhood, we step into the responsibility of creating a better world for our descendants. We each, in our own way, contribute to those who come after us, ensuring that they too experience the mystery and magic of life on earth. By remaining connected with the children, we can reclaim some of their wide-eyed wonder. The wheel turns. Each generation births the next. Each gives and receives in the great ebb and flow of life. Let us connect with the inner harmony of each role that we play as we share some time in the silence. We return from the silence and experience that deep inner knowing that all is well. We are provided for. We can provide for others with ease and grace. There is beauty in every season of life. Our hearts sing as we share in the dance of the generations. Thus is the way of the world, now and forevermore. Amen. Now we invite Heart Dream to sing for us.
just what to do.
Choosing a path
Once unknown, trusting in faith, it will be shown. Angels of peace, worries release, hands of God, angels of peace.
love woven together in the garden's mist.
I am the one and all in the breath of God's bliss. Angels of peace, worries release, hands of God, angels of peace.
Thank you, Stephen Mirabai. Now that's one of your original songs, and the next solo you're singing for us today is also part of your original repertoire. All right, it's beautiful. Thank you so much. So now we are going to talk about puzzle and riddle, but we're going to have to work up to it. And we begin by one of the most audacious passages in Scripture. It's from the book of Genesis, only two words long, and it is Adam slept. Adam slept, and nowhere does it say he awakened. So if we interpret this in a matter of consciousness, it could be that Adam slept to some truths that he just couldn't see anymore or for the present. We are Adam awakening. We are material beings awakening to the truth of our inner divinity. And awakening can be a tricky business, especially to a species that's been asleep since the time of Adam. And during this time, we developed a complex culture based primarily on the core beliefs in duality. It started with the tree of the knowledge of good and evil and the belief that some things are of God and some things are not of God. That is the original sin, to believe that anything could be separate from God. That it is possible for some beings to not be of God, God of whom we describe as omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent, all good. Do you see any room in there for something not being of God or not being good? Do you even see one crack of darkness left over after all those omnis are accounted for? It's not true. All is good. God is all good and all is God. So for us to contrive a culture based on such an erroneous foundation took some doing. And we ended up with a bizarro world. You may not remember the old Superman comic books. Bizarro is a term from those comic books. We made death and suffering and deprivation, and we made fear, all of which is reflected in our laws, our military, our school system, and our religions. So let's say that the time has come for us to shed our blinders of disbelief, to awaken. A time of awakening can be known by many names in many lands. It's known as the second coming, the end times, Armageddon, the passing of the first things. It's been prophesized forever. So how are we going to awaken? Well, we choose to awaken gently and effectively and very quickly, very quickly. So imagine, if you will, a meeting of our higher selves. You can picture them all sitting on some big fluffy cloud up in the heavens. You might call them oversouls or angels or space brothers or extra dimensional beings or the spontaneous bursting forth of a divine solution from race mind, which I think is the most accurate description. And regardless of the labels we use, they had to find an approach that would awaken us from the slumber of the separated ones. Adam slept, the slumber of the separated ones. They had to find a method to get our attention without scaring us away. Our fear is our biggest problem. They had to find something that would cause us to question our root assumptions without threatening our sanity. And then they had an idea. And this idea is the link to the story of Breathless, which is a novel by Dean Koontz. We'll talk about that more in a little bit. They had an idea, and apparently one of them, one of these imaginary creatures up on a cloud, said, I know, let's use teddy bears. Nobody's scared of teddy bears. And thus were born Riddle and Puzzle. But you'd have to use that word born very loosely, as it was more like they materialized, eyes first, out of the ethers. And they looked like two 50-pound teddy bears with huge, glowing, kaleidoscope eyes and incredibly soft white fur. They were first seen romping through the wonder of the yard with Dionysian delight. These two irresistibly huggable creatures befriended the dog and slept next to it, and raided the pantry and oohed and cooed over Ritz crackers with peanut butter. And they learned to talk amazingly fast. Their first words included phrases like, "You are clear, so clear and good and beautiful. You are a strong, strong light. And what is leads to what will be, and all will be well if we do what is right. And never fear the future. Whatever happens, the future is the only way back to where we belong forever. The future is the only way back to where we belong forever. And the future is the one path out of time into eternity. The one path out of time and into eternity. They had one final poetic phrase that they shared, and it is, "We see into the bottom of the night." We see into the bottom of the night. It was said that these beings had about them an aura of innocence and purity that was almost palpable, that had never before been encountered nor imagined in this world. So where did they come from? Some might say from the other side of the veil, or from the unmanifest realm, which means the same thing as the other side of the veil. They came from the part of our reality that we do not perceive with our five senses. We don't perceive it with our atom selves, our atom consciousness. and some believed that we called them forth. And they came. They came impossibly beautiful, impossibly loving, and impossibly impossible. They came to awaken us from the slumber of the ages. So why are they impossible? They're not a species known on Earth. And their eyes, their eyes, kaleidoscope eyes. And they are not born, they just arrive. And last but not least, they can morph their bodies when they need to. They can change their joints so that they're four-legged creatures or two-legged creatures, and probably beyond that. So how did it come to this? How did we select Dean Koontz to be the bearer of such glad tidings? Dean Koontz writes books like Stephen King. He is known for horror and suspense and thrillers. He's definitely a writer for the popular people. And this book, Breathless, seemed to follow Koontz's usual style. I was afraid the whole time I read it that would end in tragedy. There were a collection of desperate, dangerous, downtrodden characters, and their stories were woven through the pages, seeming to lead to violent or disturbing and forsaken endings. Our hero and heroine were among life's wounded beings, finding redemption through living in nature and healing the innocent. When Puzzle and Riddle were captured by the authorities, it seemed like they were doomed to disaster and devastation. That's what we would all expect. But none of these fatal, miserable, hopeless futures occurred, none of them. And as one character in the book, who was a chaos theory expert, said, it's the end of one thing and the beginning of another. We are in the dawning of a new age, a new heaven and a new earth. It is the end of thinking that our story has a tragic ending, and it is the beginning of hope. So as it turns out, Puzzle and Riddle were not the only two astonishments. That's what they were called, astonishments. They were not the only two astonishments to appear on Earth. Other pairs appeared in other states and other countries, and even the authorities found themselves unable and unwilling to harm them. The astonishment stayed and shared the planet with us. And someone asked, do you lie awake some nights wondering where this is going? I mean, the world now, with them in it, the astonishments in it, and everything's so changed. And someone else replied, no. Wherever they're going, they're taking the world with them. And I know beyond doubt that wherever they want us to be, that's where we'll belong. So we have 2 slides to share about this book. In closing, there it is. That's the cover of the book. You might notice all over the word breathless, there's the silhouette of a kind of a weird creature. Might look like a dog or a, what would you call it? A puzzle. And apparently somebody did a sketch of what Puzzle and Riddle would look like. So it's the next slide. And it's adorable. And you see that in one of their hands is a box of Ritz crackers. And in front of them on the floor is the peanut butter jar. And the one is licking the other one on the cheek. And it just has this aura of goodness and wholesomeness about it, puzzle and riddle. So, in closing, we too have seen into the bottom of the night. We have. And we chose the light, and the light chose us. We called upon incredible love and beauty to be revealed, and in the fullness of time, they were revealed. And thus ends the lesson. God bless you all. We're going to have some more beautiful singing now.
In the forest of love, in the shadows of green, awakened by truth,
in the wind serene.
God took our hand, God took our heart, across the river on
Journey to
this
start. Oh, the power of nature lifts us high. Oh, the power of spirit is in our third eye. Oh, the power of spirit everywhere.
We're partners in life, God's light is our own. Dreams are unfolding
From the seeds we've sown.
as we take the steps. All becomes so clear. Love is the answer.
Love's why we can hear. Oh, the power of nature lifts everywhere.
It's just beautiful. Thank you so much. And we're going to take a minute to bless our love offering now. And if your arm won't reach far enough to, hand it to us, then you could mail it to us, or there's a lot of different ways you can make a payment. You can make it on our website. And of course, when you come to the community center, we do take a collection. We are grateful for your support. That is how our church keeps running. And we're grateful for your love and for all of the energy and joy that you bring with you. Thank you. We have a beautiful affirmation to share. And so let's read this together twice. I give thanks for my new vision of God as my infinite, constant, abundant source. I give thanks for my new vision of God as my infinite, constant, abundant source. Amen. And now we have a nice offering song to sing.
1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. Divine love flowing through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, all I receive, and all that I am. Freely, freely I have received, freely, freely I give. Divine love through me blesses all that I have, all that I give and receive, all that I give and receive.
Thank you. We have a few announcements this morning. It looks like the service is not running long, and we're going to have time for our stay and chat, which whenever we have an at-home service, we do this after the service is over. We shut off all the recordings, so it's just us chickens. And we check in, share how we're doing, and share any questions we have about the service or any memories or experiences we've had that are similar to what was discussed. So if at all possible, please stay and join us for that. Next Sunday is also a Zoom service. It was a scheduling glitch with the City of Citrus Heights, but it turns out beautifully because we've got Sky coming, Sky Nelson Isaacs. And one of the advantages of my being out for so long is we've developed some guest speakers who are really magnificent. And Sky is one. He's not only a guest speaker, he can do the music too. And he's a physics teacher. So if you've got any questions about quantum anything, he's your man. So that's next week on Zoom. It'll be on YouTube also. Then we have our two traditional holiday services on the 12th and the 19th. They're both at the community center. We'll be doing a burning bowl service on the 12th. And then the next week we'll be doing a white stone service. And that is the third Sunday of the month. And we always have a potluck and potlatch on the third Sunday. So that will be happening then. Gives us a lot to look forward to over this new year. So then let us join in singing the peace song.
One, two, three, 2, 2, 3. with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And for our prayer for protection, we know that the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. God bless you all. Have a wonderful week.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Peace in my life is growing because I choose love. Love's always present, it's what I'm made of. I choose love. We are part of each other. We are one. One tie that binds us that can't be undone. I choose love.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So if anybody needs to leave, we won't write your name in that secret book. And if you need a little break to go powder your euphemism, you can take advantage of this time. And we'll be having everybody unmuted in a timely fashion. And I would put